Before getting into this week's episode, upcoming shows with me or a curbside comedy show sound a bit like a broken record, but none right now. And I keep on saying more on the horizon, and that is true. Fill you in on that in this episode. Other than that, hello and welcome to What's Up With Me, a podcast about me, about my comedy life mostly. My name is Connor Kvietchain. I am a stand-up comedian. Thank you to everyone who's been listening to this. If you want to learn more about me, of course, find me on social media at Connor_Kvietchain. That is the me in What's Up With Me. Rundown of this episode, which comes out bi-weekly every other Monday. This week, obviously, starting with questions, and then we're talking about stand-up in the state of curbside comedy. Stand-up, I guess, particularly outside of curbside comedy, because a lot of it hasn't been happening. Not that work hasn't been going into curbside comedy. But no, we start with questions. If you have a question, ask me. Engage me on social media. I put out questions Fridays before episodes, and those are in the form of Instagram stories. Trying to get a little bit more active on Twitter. You can find me there. Ask me questions or just comment in the YouTube video. Oh man, I really appreciate the people that watch this. I really do. Some of them have way more views than I would have ever imagined. Not that it's a ton of people at the end of the day, but I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate the people that ask me questions. The only question I got this week, it was not sarcastic, but I do believe it was just loving. It was loving. Yeah, it was one of those tones where like almost sisterly. Haley Aberson. Yeah. RA. Friend. Went through a lot of stuff together. Asked me, why are you so precious? It was very kind. He's always been very caring. I don't know why I'm so precious. It's a great question. Maybe you can ask my mom. I don't know. Good person though. I miss Haley. Hopefully I'll be up in the Pacific Northwest sometime soon to do some shows. Yeah, it's very kind for her to reach out. Again, if you do ask me a question, feel free to you'll be entered into a lottery for stuff, for me to make you stuff. Talked about that in the last episode. So if you want anything made, connect with me. Man, it is so hot. I'm sorry. I'm like, this is a slow start. I haven't even addressed the fact that this whole setup, I've changed the whole setup. Man, it is really hot in this jacket. I've learned you're supposed to wear a jacket to help define the backlight behind you. But wow, it is warm in this thing. It's also later than I normally record. It's early Monday morning at this point. And just one of those weekends. I had a lazy weekend, allowed myself to take some time, which I think is important. It's not something I'm very good at. And obviously I spent a little bit of time setting this stuff up. There's a light. Oh, other side, man. Light. What is going on? No, it's not. There's no light over there. Yeah, I was right. There's a light over there. Backlight. Got the monitor behind me. Maybe put that to a green screen one day. We can show stuff on there, make it a little bit more interactive. Got the key light right here. Obviously the mic set up. It's not perfect by any means. I think you can still see the shadow if you're watching on YouTube right on my chest, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to create a nice setup, trying to create a nice feel, because I do want to create more content. I just spent some time. Yeah, I wanted to look nice. Wanted to grow in the way that I see myself growing as a creator. So I spent some more time, a little bit behind in this episode, but there hasn't been a lot going on, and yet there's been a whole lot going on. So before getting into what's happened in stand-up recently, updates with curbside comedy, we've had a lot of hurry up and waits. I really believe in curbside comedy. I think we have found a model that's very efficient for businesses. If it's your first episode watching, curbside comedy literally delivers stand-up comedy live stand-up comedy to you. We specialize in backyard shows, but we also do events and businesses. And we raised over $5,000 for charity, almost $6,000 for charity in 2020. Not starting really until late spring. Um, we were trying moving to Tampa, trying to get into a new scene, both with the comedians and networking for the business. It's been it's been a challenge because there's barriers to getting into someone's backyard. Not only do they need to trust you as a person, no one wants to invite someone into their backyard who may not be good at stand-up comedy. And so there's that two layers of trust. You can meet people who's like, oh, that's a really cool idea, but they don't necessarily want to invite you into their backyard because they're like, well, maybe they're not that funny. And yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, we've had good shows. No one's left being like, man, I really hate those people now. It's just been good times. So we're trying. We got a few breweries that have expressed a lot of interest. We just haven't got a date yet because of COVID. But I'm out 3-4 days a week, networking with people, showing up at places where we can hopefully get in and hopefully get it up and going. But it's a bit of a struggle. I mean, Curbside Comedy was so out of the blue in terms of its actual business, the business development, and it happened so rapidly that it's the first lull, and it really makes you consider what you're trying to do. I really believe in a much grander scheme of Curbside Comedy. Scheme is not the right word. Grander vision of Curbside Comedy. And it'll get there, but it's a little bit trying, especially when you don't get any no's. There's nothing really to push against. It's a lot of yeses, and you're like, okay, it's going to fall into my lap, but it's just not the truth. So, fortunately, very fortunately, I am here in Tampa, where the world is still a little bit open, for better or for worse. It's hard to say. I mean, having COVID before, I have some immunity, so the weight's a little bit different in terms of what I think is right for myself and for other people. Um, but yeah, I've been able to do stand up comedy still at open mics, and last week I talked about what it's like, what's important about stand up comedy. It's just doing it, doing it. Stage time is gold, but I'm finding open mics to be a struggle right now for me. In part because I'm not a person who loves to just get into my car and drive and go. Um, so driving 40 minutes one way for a 5-minute set is a little bit of a struggle. Um, but again, a lot of people might be like, well, that's really, like, you're in such a great situation. People who haven't been able to do stand up for a long time in different parts of the country that I'm taking it for granted. That's fair. It's fair to say, fair to judge me in that way, but it's also, I've been developing a longer set. I'm just getting used to doing 30-minute sets with Curbside Comedy, and that's a lot of people. If you talk with a comedian, they'll be like, "Well, 30-minute sets, like you wouldn't necessarily tell a club you got 30 minutes if you're just starting to do 30 minutes." And that's true. I would say I'm probably at my best around 15 to 20 right now. I will be hitting every joke. There's probably about 10 minutes that I'm still working out and figuring out, although I am still working on a lot of different jokes. But it's tough. It's tough when you're like, "Oh, I got 5 minutes. Which 1/6 of my set do I want to work on today?" Um, but fortunately, in Tampa, there's a place that allows you to have unlimited stage time. You can just go up, and obviously, there's a respect that you need to have with the room. There's a if you're sucking, the people will hate you. You want to get off stage, get off stage. Like if no one's lighting you, get off stage. Don't be that person that's just gonna push through for you. Especially if you know someone else is going up behind you. If it's just you, no one else is waiting for you to get off the stage to perform. Sure, I guess it's okay, but still, you got to be able to read the room as a stand-up. Um, I went there for the second time eh, ever. First time, there's a lot of comedians that ended up coming in, so I wanted to run a half an hour, and I varied off it. I didn't do what I wanted to do. I tried to make some stuff up right on stage for the audience, and it didn't work. It did not work out. And I think they could tell I was trying to pander. This time around, I went specifically to work on my half an hour, and I went and I did really well. In terms of the crowds, the audience's perspective, they really enjoyed me. Big applause off the stage. And there's only like 7-8 people here. It's not a packed place, but it's a spacious room, and people are kind of spread out. People are coming in and out. I think there were a few smokers going outside, just enjoying their evening. And I just wanted to work on energy, connecting with the crowd, matching where they're at, and growing. Tried some stuff, but I would say it went well from the audience perspective because they really enjoyed it, but it didn't go great from a personal stand-up perspective because I only think I got through about 20 minutes of material, although I was on stage for 30 minutes. The crowd was very, very, very interactive. And it was one of those places where you got to look at it and go, you know what, this is about you. This is about the audience having a good time. I got to feel, and I want to be with that energy. I want to be with them in this moment. So I played with them. I did a little bit of crowd work, tried to play with them and then get back into my rhythm. And it worked. It worked well, well enough to the point where I have a joke about winning a hot dog eating contest. And you can imagine whatever jokes you might think of. That's exactly what the audience started yelling at me. They're like, "Oh, did you deep throat it? Did you swallow it whole? What'd you do?" And I bit the hot dog in half and swallowed whole to win this competition. And they're like, "I want to see it. I want to see it." And so this woman is like, "I'm gonna buy you a hot dog when you get off stage." And mind you, it's like 12, 13 minutes into my set, and I'm gonna do another 15 minutes. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, yeah, all right." A lot of people, I feel like, have yelled something at me on stage that they'll like give me a drink or whatever. Doesn't usually happen. That's fine. But this person get off stage after decent, they enjoyed me and they bought me a hot dog. They wanted to see if I still had the hot dog eating champion spirit inside me. And a friend was with me, and they filmed this, and this is what happened when I tried to eat this hot dog. Well, let me actually set this up. I get off stage, half an hour, no water in my mouth, dry throat, trying to drink water, and they want to see me eat this full hot dog. And it's not a Frank Sweener. It's like double the thickness and almost double the length of 1.5 length of a normal hot dog. And I've just been performing on stage, and I want to try and put on a show for these people. And this is what happens when I try to eat a full hot dog as fast as I can. This is
go.
Well, oh, too much teeth.
While you're doing it. It's too thick. I can't get it down.
Oh my God! Come on.
Yep. That's it. I couldn't do it. I lost it. I do think it's in part because the hot dog's so much bigger. I couldn't get it down my throat, but man, what a disappointment. Have a good set. Can't please the crowd with the hot dog eating. Oh man. Tough. Yeah. That's how it's been going. It's been slow. Stand up. That's the last time I performed. That was almost a week ago. And I don't know. It was nice. It was nice to know that you still have it, but it's, again, stage time is gold. And so the fact I'm not performing as regularly as I would like, there's a question of like, well, am I being the best version of myself as a comedian? I don't know. You just got to roll with life. It's like anything else. You got to believe that you're doing what's best for you given the situation, putting your best foot forward. But yeah, it's different. It's different right now. I expected things to be rolling a little bit faster. There's also that lull after moving back away, after spending time with family, friends, holidays. There's just, the post celebration depression. Not full blown, but just like, yeah, it's the holiday letdown. That's where we're at. But there's a feeling that things are growing, things are building. We've heard a lot of positive feedback about Curbside. It's like, I don't know. Man, it'd be hilarious if someone just made a liar out of me and all of them got back and just like, nah, we don't want it. I don't think that's going to happen though. Hopefully we get enough people to book shows that sooner rather than later, we have an overflow. We figured out the model. We're able to bring more comedians in and make it happen. But for right now, plugging away, going meeting people in a safe manner, masking up, building the studio space, and just trying to make people laugh. Yeah. Thank you for listening. That's what's up with me. It's kind of slow. Congrats to Tom Brady. If you're watching, you see my Patriots shirt. But I hope you're having a good time, man. Beginning of the year. It's wild. I don't think I do much reflection at the beginning of the year. I feel like it's at the end of the year. So, now we're here. Thank you. Thank you for listening to What's Up With Me. Please subscribe. We're going to figure this is a podcast out a little bit more in the next couple weeks. Obviously, with the studio set up, bigger things are coming. But thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Check in with yourself. All right. Goodbye.